Another European club season is upon us, and we thought we'd go through some of the biggest storylines involving U.S. men's national team players this upcoming season. We're going to begin with goalkeepers. You might recall we spoke to Brad Friedel at the start of this year at the convention. We talked about how in recent years, American goalkeepers have struggled to find places in Europe where they could play regularly at a fairly high level. Just in the last few days, Gaga Slonina was loaned from Chelsea to League One side Barnsley. We'll see how that goes for him. Ethan Horvath has seemingly found a home with Championship side Cardiff City. Matt Turner, meanwhile, still at Nottingham Forest, projected to be a backup this season, so he probably has to leave in the next couple of weeks. But how do you see the overall goalkeeping situation from an American standpoint entering this European club campaign?
So I think that there are specific areas of weakness, and I guess you could put / opportunity when it comes to this U.S. national team going forward, obviously with the next less than 2 years up to 2026. And one of them, and I didn't think I would be saying this given the way that Matt Turner crashed on the scene and kind of grabbed it with both hands, and yet it has not gone well from him from a club perspective, although he continues to be the incumbent, but I do think that he is vulnerable. So the people that you are mentioning, yeah, we have the usual suspects that have been in and out of the camps, and none of them have really stepped up and grabbed that opportunity. And then you have this new group, obviously, Gaga and these types of players that are coming up. When we talked to Brad Friedel, he didn't quite put his finger as to on why this is happening. Obviously, for a long time, we were producing a lot of goalkeepers and some very good goalkeepers, historically good goalkeepers when it comes to Casey Keller and Brad Friedel and Tim Howard and the likes. And I think as we have grown as a soccer playing nation, we want to expand and we want to put more focus and energy into, the other 10 players. And, maybe it's just a cyclical type of thing, and maybe this new generation will come. But ultimately, when it comes to the U.S. team and it comes to goalkeepers, I think there's an opportunity. So I think someone, whether it's Gaga Slonina or anybody else, they need to be playing consistently, obviously making the saves and being noticed. And then when they get into camp, and they will get into camp, because whoever the new coach is, I think is going to recognize that there is a vulnerability in goal. They got to come in and they got to do what Matt Turner did, which come in and take it away.
All things being equal, we all agree Matt Turner is the U.S.'s best goalkeeper right now. But if he's not playing at club level, Horvath and Slonina are. Do you think that might be enough for a new coach coming in to pick those players over Turner?
Maybe, and maybe that coach will have a bias if another player is playing. But ultimately, you land in camp, you go out on the field, and that's where the rubber meets the road, right? And so this new coach will look, and if it doesn't pass the eye test, and Matt Turner is still saving everything, again, form can be fallacy. And so I think while having the pedigree and the accomplishments from a club perspective is going to get you into camp, then you still got to make the saves. And if Matt Turner, even if he's not playing and continues to not play, still comes into camp and is still the man, then I don't think anything changes.
Next up, Tyler Adams staying healthy. He's off to a bad start in that regard. He had back surgery after the Copa America and is going to miss the beginning of this campaign with Bournemouth. But when he eventually makes his way back to the field, it'd be nice if he could stick around and play with some regularity this season.
Again, whoever the new coach is comes in and looks at the talent that they have and the level that they have. And I think anybody that comes in with any quality is going to look at Tyler Adams from a leadership standpoint on and off the field, and then from a pure talent and effectiveness on the field perspective, and say, this is a guy that I can build around. This is a guy that I can count on. This is a guy that is going to do the job, with this caveat that everybody knows, if he's healthy. And if he's not, he is Tyler Adams at 90%, maybe you can get away with it, but anything less than that, I think it's problematic. And so I think we will continue to care about him because of how good he has been, but maybe even more importantly, how good we think he can be if he continues on. And this has always been the conversation. Tyler Adams at this age and this teenage age is great. Think of what he's going to be in 2026. Well, that equation doesn't work if he's not healthy. And so I don't know when that is ultimately going to happen, but we need a healthy Tyler Adams and 100% healthy Tyler Adams, I think, to get the best out of him right now. He's got, it's just, it breaks my heart, but you kind of have to be ruthless going forward. And if we're not going to get that, then whoever the new coach is, well, no matter what, I think has to look in different directions and certainly have their plans be with Tyler Adams and absolutely without Tyler Adams, because we cannot count on him, unfortunately.
What's interesting to me at that position is that Johnny Cardoso has been linked to some pretty big clubs this summer, including AC Milan. And although with the U.S. national team, the pecking order is clear, it's Tyler 1, Johnny 2, I feel like because of Tyler's injury problems and how well Johnny played at Real Betis, at the European club level, Johnny's stock might be higher right now.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that he is being seen as value when it comes to his price and what he can do, and obviously as quality. And again, he might come in and they might say, "What have you done for me lately, Janet Jackson," when it comes to Tyler or anybody else, and they move on. And after all the screaming and yelling about what Tyler Adams is, when it comes down to 2026 and that whistle blows, it might be your friend Johnny out there on the field.
Speaking of AC Milan, the biggest Yanks abroad success story last season was Christian Pulisic's debut campaign with the Rossoneri, 15 goals, 11 assists in all competitions. He's got a new coach this season. Stefano Pioli's out. Paulo Fonseca's in. It sounds like Pulisic is going to play more centrally as a 10. So do you think Pulisic can kick on and have a strong sophomore season at Milan? And could his success prompt more Americans to go to AC Milan? We know Yunus Musa is there as well. They've been linked, as I said, to Johnny Cardoso, Weston McKennie. And could Pulisic succeeding cause more Americans to go to Italy in general?
All right, so first question, yeah, I think that Christian Pulisic can kick on. And look, we are in this wonderful rarefied air where we saw Christian Pulisic on a consistent basis, week after week after week, not just getting the opportunity on the field, but because he consistently played and consistently played well, we saw a Christian Pulisic that finally kind of lived up to what it's not hype, but what we thought he could be. And let's be honest, I think he also kind of grew into himself, became a man in almost the prime now of his career, where his body caught up to his brain and the complete package. And again, knock on wood, because Christian Pulisic in the past has had injuries, but I hope that he has gotten over that. And I think he understands his body and he does the things that he needs to do to be consistent, because I think absolutely he can not only do as well, but I think he can even do better going forward. The bigger question, and maybe the more fun it's going to be, is what Italy has become, or what it could be going forward in terms of opportunities. And we already have players there, and a bunch of players there, not ridiculous amounts of players there. But again, every American that comes over and does well creates more credibility and creates more opportunity for others to come over. And while we've often talked about what Germany is from a development standpoint and an opportunity standpoint with American soccer players, I think that there is an element right now where we can look at Italy and make a case for that being a place that a lot of players want to go, and is a good place for a lot of players to go.
I'm still hearing Fiorentina for Weston McKennie, although it was interesting that he was evidently offered to AC Milan in the last few days. So imagine McKennie, Musa, and Pulisic all playing together.
Oh my goodness, that's interesting. And then obviously we have Busio and Tanner Tessman and these types of players that are going on over there. So it's a fun time to be an American if you're in Italy.
Next up, center back development. I'm on record as saying this is the most underwhelming position in the talent pool right now. Tim Ream has gone back to MLS with Charlotte. In terms of European-based center backs, you've got Chris Richards at Crystal Palace, Mark McKenzie at Genk, Cameron Carter-Vickers at Celtic. Could you see any of those guys making a leap this season, or have they all reached that they are what they are point in their careers? And unless somebody new emerges, U.S. fans are just going to have to accept that the center back play is going to be not all that great for the next couple of years.
Well, first off, I completely agree with you. I think that this is a problem for this team going forward, in that the players that we have are certainly capable, but none of them fill me with confidence. Even, the young players and emerging players like a Chris Richards, I'm still so underwhelmed when I see him play. And I'm not sure that there are players behind. But again, it depends how you look at it. You can look at it as a weakness, or if I was a center back coming up, I would look at it as an opportunity to break into a position that we've identified as a weakness. I think to your point, Mosse, when you're talking about Cameron Carter-Vickers and these types of players, I think this is who they are. I don't see that ceiling being at a point where then I go, ooh, now I'm really much more confident right now. And that's a problem. You have, Robinson and, some of the usual suspects, not Miles Robinson, I'm talking about when it comes to actual center backs and some of the usual suspects that are around, but it's slim pickings. And the pickings that you have, like I said, they'll do a job, but they're not going to take us to that next level right now.
Miles was one of the overage players at the Olympics alongside Walker Zimmerman.
Yep.
So there's a whole bunch of guys there.
And Ream, we've talked about Ream because of his ability on the ball and because of how good he has been and obviously his longevity. But where's that? I mean, we just got done talking about Naomi Girma. And I know it's a little apples and oranges when it comes to the U.S. men and the U.S. women. But we lamented the fact that Becky Sauerbrunn, legend, and talk about being capable and consistent and being a leader, well, boom, right like that, they were able to replace her with Naomi Girma. So much so that Emma's called her the greatest center back, the greatest defender that she's seen. And I don't see that next crop coming up. But if they are there, you should be licking your chops right now because there's an opportunity. You don't even have to be elite. You don't even have to be a world beater as a center back, as an American right now if you have an American passport. You just have to be competent, and at least you're going to get a shot, I think.
Yeah, that might be a position where recruiting a dual national. I don't know if there's somebody out there with some American ancestors that the U.S. can pursue. But finally, Flo Balogun, 2 seasons ago, 21 Ligue 1 goals at Hans. That earned them a move to Monaco. And then last season, he only got 7 league goals from Monaco. Coming off a pretty good summer, I thought he was one of the few bright spots for the U.S. at the Copa America. But can he get back on track at club level and have a big season there and establish himself as this real up-and-coming striker in European club football?
I agree with you in that I think he impressed and did better this summer, and it kind of needed to. But I do think that there is still a situation up top when it comes to the striker position, the number 9 position, in the same way that we looked at Matt Turner, where Flo is the incumbent, and I think fairly so. But there is also still an opportunity. And again, we can't read too much into what's happening at club level. And yeah, we want our players playing well. And when it comes to players that score goals, oftentimes we equate value with form and all that kind of stuff, and really how many goals you are scoring. But again, if you had a passport and you can score goals and you can find a way to do that and you can get yourself invited into a camp, there's an opportunity. Because from when Flo Balogun came in, the way that we thought it was going to go to where we are right now, this was not where we thought we were going to be now when it came to Flo Balogun. And it doesn't mean that he can't come good and doesn't mean that he can't improve, but he still it's not quite there yet.
In terms of other American strikers, Ricardo Pepi still at PSV. They're off and running in their Eredivisie campaign. Josh Sargent and Haji Wright both still in the English Championship. Sargent and Norwich, Haji at Coventry. They each scored 16 championship goals last season. Sargent is getting linked with a move to Bournemouth as a replacement for Solanke, who went to Tottenham.
You like that clip? Well, my State of the Union podcast drops twice a week right here on my very own YouTube page. The only way to stay up to date is to hit that subscribe button down below. Size the day, and see you soon.